My name's Sarah and I'm against bullying. I've been bullied personally. I know people who've been bullied. I know people who have been bullies. I've bullied before. And frankly, I still feel guilty. This was 7 years ago when I was in elementary school and didn't know better. I still think back to that and I can't believe that I did something like that, even though it was one time and something so simple. If you're a bully, I have one thing to say. You're lucky that your victim is still alive. You should be happy that the person that you've tortured, either physically or mentally, is still here. I'm saying that because that shows that they're strong enough to take you. Shows that they're strong enough to be able to make it anywhere, unlike some people. And I'm saying that for your benefit, because frankly, if you're taking that kind of anger out on someone, you wouldn't be able to deal with it. I've almost lost some very special people in my life because they're bullies. Frankly, I'm sick of it. People shouldn't be made fun of because they look different, they act different, the kind of music they like, who they like. It's ridiculous. Right now, I believe the biggest form of bullying is because of homosexuality. And frankly, that's ridiculous. Think about it. If you had a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a husband or a wife that you loved so much that you would do anything for them, and you had them taken away from you because of society, how would you feel? I'm straight, but that doesn't mean that I can't support this. It has become a joke nowadays, an insult even, to be called gay or lesbian or bisexual. And that doesn't make sense to me because they're people. Everyone is human. I've always thought that everyone has been human. I don't think that anyone's capable of being anything other than human because everyone experiences feeling and emotion. But if you are ignorant enough to go and ruin someone's life, to scar them both mentally and physically, and you don't care, then you're not human. Then you're just a monster. And it needs to stop. I'm picked on, and whereas someone means it as a joke, I take it way farther. Because frankly, I have depression. And that is something that I can't help. I like different bands. I like bands that no one knows. And they mean the world to me because they've helped me through things like this. And I get picked on for it. I get picked on for being a fangirl. People joke about it all the time. And some days, it pushes me over the edge. What I'm trying to get at with that is that the simplest thing that you say can hurt someone. It can make them feel bad. Like, so bad that they take it out on themselves. And frankly, at that point, they're their own bully. So if you were the first person to make them feel like that, there are going to be more. There's going to be at least one more because they're going to be so hard on themselves that they become just like you. bullying is never a decent answer. And people think that the bully has their own complications. I think that it needs to be taught in school that depression is a real thing, that there are mental illnesses, that someone should think before they speak, because we're losing too many people because someone said something as simple as you're fat or you're ugly or ooh, what's on your face. And to all of you who have been bullied, you have to stay strong. Don't ever even think about committing suicide. Your parents would be devastated, even if they don't act like it. Your friends would never be the same. If you have animals, who would watch them? They go through this too. I've seen it with my own animals. I haven't lost anyone, besides maybe my grandma, but she's still alive. It's a long story. But they have lost their friends. I've lost a lot of dogs, and when I do lose a dog, my other animals walk around aimlessly. That's how your friends would feel if you go through with that. Don't be your own bully. After seeing society today, you should know that heaven doesn't need the angels. We need them. We need to be able to stick together and stand up to people like that to balance this out again. Another big thing is internet bullying. A lot of people think that it's not real because no one is their true self on the internet. Sometimes people are socially awkward or have other illnesses that cause them to not be able to communicate properly. And the only place that they are themselves is the internet. That's the only place they have friends. So if you're going on Anon on Tumblr and you're messaging people, oh, why don't you go cut yourself again or go make yourself puke? You are the worst of all, because then it's in writing and it's out there for everyone to see. Words mean one thing, but when it's written to stick around forever, it's a whole nother thing. I honestly cannot comprehend how someone can be that shallow. Some people do it so that they can escape whatever they're dealing with, but that shouldn't be an excuse. And frankly, school counselors, they focus more on the bully than they do the victim. The victim is already so scared to open up to anyone. And frankly, the more you pay attention to something, either the bigger it'll get, or the more of it there'll be. I honestly don't know what to say, because it makes me feel sick. I cannot possibly understand how someone can hurt another human being. I honestly want to make a difference in this world, because I know what it's like to have gone through stuff like that. And I don't want my children or my grandchildren or my great-grandchildren or anyone else's children to have to deal with the things that today's society has to. I honestly believe that everyone is capable of redemption and making themselves better. But there are some things that you can't change. I practically force myself to eat and to do things that make me happy and to ignore the bad things. But it can get really hard, and one comment, not even a direct blow, but something that's negative, can push another person over the edge. Another tip for anyone who's going through this: don't cut, don't do it, don't ever do it, because people can turn that on you too. If anyone finds out, they can think that you're just calling for attention or start rumors. And frankly, that's even worse than the pain that you go through while doing that. What I always did was, because music has been such a strong influence for me, I've always written lyrics on my arms, on my legs, on my hand. You'll never see me without something written on me. And you know those little New Year's jars where you put down happy memories from the year? Those help too, because they help you look at the positive. You also need... Everyone always talks about trying to find your place in the world, but you need to be open to that and not expect a place, but be your own place. I don't think... Another thing is that everyone's talking about find your home, and home is where the heart is. Frankly, it's just where you're happiest, whether that be at school or with your friends or at concerts. I honestly say that my home is concerts, and people will look at me like I'm crazy, but it's true. They help me forget everything that has ever happened. And before you do anything stupid, live in the moment, but keep the future in mind. For me personally, I go to quotes, whether they be anonymous or anything really, because these are people who have gone through tough times. And there are people who have experienced things that are similar to what you're going through, but everyone's unique. They won't ever know exactly how it is for you because you think differently. That right there is another reason why you shouldn't go through with anything that's permanent. Like suicide. I mean, you can never come back from that. You won't ever get married, have kids, move into that house that you've always dreamed of, wear that beautiful gown that you've dreamed of since you were 5, or the tux. You won't become a writer or an artist or a photographer or an architect or an engineer or a scientist or a mathematician, anything, if you don't make it through this. Take it one step at a time. When you're going to do something, think of it as, oh, I have to take this step, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one, because time is never ending. There will always be more time. There will always be another day. There will always be another night. You just have to push